President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has returned home after a busy multi-day visit to the United States, during which he participated in the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit. The details.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi returned back home after participating in the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit in Washington. Presidential spokesperson Ambassador Bassem Radi said President al-Sisi's visit to Washington comes in the framework of the strong and extended ties binding Egypt and the United States based on common interests and mutual respect. Radi noted the visit also reflects Egypt's keen interest in enhancing the joint African action. In his word before the summit, President al-Sisi tackled files related to the African continent in the face of the current international challenges. In addition, on the sidelines of the visit, the President held a string of meetings with U.S. President Joe Biden as well as a number of senior American officials, including the President of the World Bank, David Malpass, as well as the Libyan Presidential Council head Mohammed El-Manfi. In his meeting with Malpass, the President stressed the importance of continuing coordination with the World Bank as part of Egypt's keen interest to enhance bilateral cooperation and fruitful partnership amid the successive global crises and their repercussions on all economies, particularly in emerging economies. Earlier, President al-Sisi praised the Egyptian community in the U.S., stressing Egypt's leadership and government always working to support Egyptians inside and outside the country, which they will set no spare effort to serve the great people.
Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry received the phone call from the Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. The call dealt with means of enhancing the bilateral relations in various fields and the course of implementing the economic projects undertaken by Russia in Egypt. The ministers discussed a number of developments on the regional and the international levels. In this regard, Foreign Minister Shoukry was keen to review the Egyptian stance towards various developments in the Middle East. Shoukry also informed the Russian minister of the results of the contacts that Egypt is conducting to achieve stability and peace in the region. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli witnessed the inauguration of the Digital Industrialization Center at the Arab Organization for the Industrialization, the AOI. The Prime Minister inspected the Digital Manufacturing Center at the Engines Factory and watched a documentary about the stages of establishing the center. The Prime Minister also made an inspection tour at the Industrialization Authority and listened to a presentation by the Staff Major General Engineer Mukhtar Abdul Latif, the head of the authority. The Prime Minister said that the Arab Organization for Industrialization will produce pumps needed for the water desalination. In addition, Madbouli stressed at the inauguration of the AOI's Digital Manufacturing Center comes upon President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's directives to enhance the localization of the national industry, reduce the imports, and benefiting from the potentials of the AOI. Minister of Environment attends the UN Biodiversity Conference chaired by China as a turning point in the joint efforts to reach applicable goals within the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework. Environment Minister Yasmin Fuad made those remarks during the high-level segment of the conference held in Canada's Montreal. Fuad added that the COP15 is an important turning point in the course of the joint efforts of various parties and stakeholders, including women, youth, and financial institutions, to ensure reaching agreed goals that can be implemented within the GBF. During the visit, Fuad signed the Memorandum of Understanding with the Minister of Tourism and Environment in Albania, Mirela Jumbaro, in the field of the environmental protection and sustainable development. The minister asserted that the MOU between the two parties included cooperation in the fields of biodiversity and reserves, coastal zone management, climate change, marine pollution, and the disaster management, and the environmental monitoring in the field of air and water. The Ministry of Interior continued the efforts to combat all the crimes, especially in the fields of supply, traffic, electricity, monuments, intellectual property, public funds and taxes nationwide. During the previous week, security forces spotted 22 cases of commercial fraud, where more than 5,000 gas cylinders were sold on the black market. 18 cases of oil products were also spotted, with a total amount of 1,700,000 liters, which were on their way for the black market. An amount of more than 14 tons of rice were sold at overprices. Security forces succeeded in spotting 2,662 cases in the field of tourism and monuments.